Let us now move from principle to evidence. The latest public evidence available by April 2026 is not comforting, but it is useful because it removes the excuse of vagueness. The Office for Students reported in its November 2025 Financial Sustainability Update that without mitigating action, 124 providers, or 45% of providers in scope, could report deficits in 2025-26. It also reported that forecast tuition fee income for 2025-26 was £437.8 million lower than providers had previously forecast. The OFS also warned that the proportion of providers with fewer than 30 days of net liquidity could rise from 16% in 2025-26 to 26% in 2026-27. That is evidence, not gossip. It does not mean that nearly half of universities are about to collapse tomorrow. It does mean that financial pressure is broad, material, and strategically significant. It also means that boards, councils, vice-chancellors, deans, heads of school, and professional service leaders can no longer treat finance as something that happens in another office with a spreadsheet and a worried expression. Universities UK has also shown the long-term erosion of domestic teaching funding. Its analysis reports that real terms funding per domestic student in England declined by 35% between 2015-16 and 2025-26. In 2025-26, the real terms funding per domestic student in England was 64% of its 2015-16 level. UK estimated a cumulative shortfall of £31.4 billion over that period, with a £6.4 billion shortfall in 2025-26 alone. This matters because the English home undergraduate funding model has relied heavily on a capped tuition fee system. When fees remain constrained while inflation, pay, pensions, energy, estate, technology, regulation, and student support costs rise, the unit of resource weakens. You can ask schools and departments to become more efficient. That may be necessary, but there is a limit to efficiency when the teaching income per student has lost substantial real value. A second pressure is international student dependence. According to House of Commons Library analysis of HESA data, there were around 2.86 million students in UK higher education in 2024-25, including around 2.2 million UK students and 0.7 million overseas students. International recruitment has been a major source of income for many universities, especially because international fees often help cross-subsidize teaching, research, facilities, and wider institutional costs. But this model is exposed to policy and market shocks. From 1 January 2024, the UK government restricted most international students from bringing family members, except in limited circumstances such as postgraduate research routes and certain government-funded scholarships. The policy may have reduced net migration pressure, but it also affected recruitment markets, particularly in taught postgraduate provision. Universities that built financial plans on continuous international growth have discovered an old truth: a forecast is not income until the student enrolls and pays. The third pressure is research sustainability. UKRI's 2025 Research Financial Sustainability Analysis makes clear that the funding system does not generally cover the full economic cost of research. UKRI states that Standard Research Council grants normally fund 80% of eligible full economic costs, and that cost recovery on Research Council-funded research ranged from about 69 to 74% over the previous 5 academic years. This creates a quiet paradox. A university may be research-intensive, globally respected, and still financially strained by research activity if the costs are not fully recovered. Prestigious research can strengthen reputation and future opportunity, but it can also require cross-subsidy from other income streams. That is not an argument against research. It is an argument for more honest costing, stronger partnerships, better grant strategy, and clearer institutional choices.